what is exactly surveying all about? What is that we are going to be briefly coming across in this particular course of surveying is all that we'll just try to have an idea in today's class. We'll not go much in detail about what is surveying, how are we going to carry out surveying and all that. Just a preliminary idea of what are different methods, are different instruments, are different ways by which we carry out the surveying is that what we'll try to come across in today's class. So what basically surveying is all about? If somebody asks you what does surveying mean, so we can mention that surveying is all about locating the points. Which points are we going to talk about? Okay, surveying is nothing but we call it as science and art of determining the relative positions of points which are there above or on the earth or below the earth surface. So whatever the points that you want to locate directly on the ground or above the ground surface or below the ground surface. So we are going to do that, or we can try to locate all those points. So by means of what is called as surveying. So once again, let me mention what is this surveying all about. Surveying is nothing but it's a science and art of determining the relative positions of what all we are going to be talking about. So relative positions of various points which are existing either on the ground, above the ground, or below the ground surface. So all those points are going to be located in order to understand how is the condition of the ground or what are the various salient features of that particular ground, what we are trying to look at. Now, what is the objective of carrying out the surveying? Okay, why do we need to carry out the surveying? So basic purpose of carrying out the surveying, the main primary objective of carrying out this survey, whatever we are trying to talk about, is in the preparation of plan of an estate or maybe a building or maybe for railways or for pipelines or canals or anything any information that you have got in that particular site which you are required to be noting. All that basic information that you have in that particular location is going to be noted down, and with that information what you are going to be noting it down, you can make use of that data to understand and to determine whatever exactly is your requirement. Let's say, for example, I want to construct a building here. Now, if I want to construct a building here, I cannot just like make a decision whether it is possible for me to go and construct a building in that particular location. So I have to carry out what is called as a basic survey. Basic survey in the sense, I'll go as a surveyor, I'll go to that particular site, understand how is the condition of that site. Let's say, for example, the location where I am interested in constructing the building, if it is a forest area, so I cannot just simply go there to construct my building. I require various permissions to be taken. Let's say, for example, if I want to construct a reservoir, but most of the catchment area of that reservoir, if it is lying in the forest, then you cannot just as like think that I am government and I can go and construct the reservoir there wherever I feel like. So you have got different permissions to be acquired. And after getting that only, you can think of how to plan for the construction of that particular reservoir. So all that information, like say, as a surveyor, I'll go to the site, I'll understand what are the different features, salient features existing in that particular site or location where you want to take up your construction. It could be a typical building construction, or maybe a railway track construction, or an embankment construction, or for the construction of a pipeline, or for construction of a canal, or maybe for any other information. So you can try to carry out what is called as your surveying. And the other objective of surveying is to determine what is called as precise positions on the surface of the earth or widely distance points. So precisely this geodetic surveying, the word geodetic, what does it mean exactly? I'll try to talk about little later, immediately in the next couple of slides. For now, just understand it's simply geodetic surveying. We'll understand what exactly this geodetic surveying word means. So in the process of this surveying, what exactly we are going to be doing is, we are going to precisely identify the locations of various objects. Okay, so various objects in the sense, where is my building in the campus? Where is my hostel in the campus? Where is my mess in the campus? Where is my canteen in the campus? So all that information precisely you can try to locate based on the information that you are trying to collect. Okay, So on the Earth surface, precisely, you can try to locate all your required points or the positions of those various structures exactly at its location. Now, what is the use of surveying? Okay, so basically, as I told you earlier, the surveying, whatever we are going to carry out, is to prepare a topographical map. What does this topographical map means? What does topography means? Topography is all about knowing the relevant information with regard to that location. Okay, like containing hilly regions or containing valley regions or containing a water body, whether that region contains what is called as a village, whether that region contains what is called as a town or maybe a forest. What all that information that you have got regarding that particular site, if that is completely transformed into the form of a map or a plan, then we call it as representation of that topography. Topography in the sense, the condition of that particular location on your map is what you are trying to represent. So basically, the surveying is what you are going to be making use of for preparing your topographical map, which shows the salient features like hills or valleys or rivers or villages or towns, etc. of a particular country. I need not specifically mention to the complete country, but it could be with respect to your location, wherever you are trying to carry out your survey. Okay. So whenever we talk about the preparation of a map, sometimes people call it as plan, sometimes we use the word called as map. When do I need to call it as a plan? When do I need to call it as a map? Okay. So maybe you might have come across from your engineering drawing. So what is meant by a plan and what is meant by a map? Plan is nothing but the representation of your salient features. Map is also nothing but representation of your salient features only. But what basic difference that you have got between the plan, the word plan, and the map means the scale, whatever you are going to choose. If the chosen scale is, let's say, 1 in 1,000 kilometers, 1 in 100 kilometers, 1 in 10 kilometers. So what you are trying to do there is a very large dimension. You are trying to scale it to a very smaller one, because the area what you are trying to cover to represent on a particular sheet is a very bigger one. So subsequently, the scale what you have chosen is 1 in a very big number. So such kind of representation of the data of that topography of a relatively large area is what we call it as map. And the same topography of relative small region, it could be the building or it could be a small campus or maybe something like that, then that particular representation is what we call it as plan. So the scale what you choose there is a smaller scale, whereas in the case of your map, the scale what you are going to be choosing is relatively a bigger scale, 1 in maybe kilometers. Okay, 1 centimeter on your sheet may be representing some kilometers on your original field. So such kind of graphical representation of your information is what we call it as map. Next, the use of surveying is to prepare a cadastral map showing the boundaries of the fields, houses, and other properties. Okay, so this complete surveying, whatever we are going to be talking about, that is going to be useful for us to ultimately talk about the representation of that complete information on a piece of paper, which we are calling it as a map. But those maps are going to be different in the sense, for example, let's say if I am trying to collect the information regarding all the salient features like rivers or maybe valleys or the village or town or roads and other networks. Okay, so depending on that type of information what you are trying to represent in that map, we call that map to be either topographical map or cadastral map or an engineering map or so on. Okay, so topographical map contains the information, basically relates to that of the nature in the sense whether it is a hilly region or a valley region or a forest or a river or reservoir, or whether you have got some villages existing there and so on. Now, what is a cadastral map? What kind of information the cadastral map contains means, cadastral map is going to contain the information regarding the boundaries of various fields or houses that are existing in that particular location. So the boundary regions, if I am going to be representing on that map, such kind of map is what we call it as your cadastral map. And this surveying is also useful for us to prepare what is called as an engineering map, where that particular map contains very important relevant features, relevant feature aspects pertaining to that of engineering. That is nothing but like representation of your roads, or maybe railways, or canals, or any building, or any of such constructions which are relevant to that of your engineering aspect. So those informations are going to be represented in what is called as an engineering map. In the case of sometimes this surveying is also useful for us in preparation of what is called as your military map. Military map is all with respect to that of the information relevant to that of your military works that are carried out in the country. Okay, so to prepare a military map showing the roads and other railways or communication networks with different parts of the country, which will be made use of, by the military of our country for carrying out any of the different operations in safety of our country. So this particular military map basically contains the information of the communication system and your road network or railway network, so that how you can have a transport from one place to the other place, or it could even contain your water body network along the coastal area, so that the defense people in defense can make use of that particular map or the data to carry out the studies pertaining to that particular region in safeguarding the country. Next, surveying is also useful to prepare what is called as contour map, and to determine the capacity of reservoirs, and to find out the best possible routes for construction of your roads and railways. So even by carrying out this surveying, I can try to determine the area of some particular region or volume of some particular region where I want to construct my reservoir, so that I understand how much is the volume of water that can be stored in that particular region because of the difference in elevations of the ground and because of the natural existence of the ground. Okay, so that is one possibility. And other possibility is, let's say, what is the best feasible way by which you construct your roads, or maybe construction of your railways, if I want to take up. So the best possible things from your contour map. What does this basically contour map talks about means? It talks about the elevations of the ground at different locations in that region. Okay, so if I'm trying to talk about the contour map for our campus, so within this campus, we are at different places of the campus, what are the ground elevations? Okay, so how do we determine that ground elevations means? Within the campus, maybe a fixed point of reference we try to consider, and from that fixed point of reference, we try to determine the elevations of the ground at different places. Okay, we say at some region the ground is at a higher elevation, at some region the ground is at a lower elevation. Wherever the ground is at a lower elevation, we have the water getting stagnated. So wherever the ground is at a higher elevation, the water is easily flowing from there to the downstream. So all that information is what we understand from what is called as your contour map. Basic information that we get from your contour map is, we will be able to understand the elevations of the ground. More technically, we'll try to understand all those informations as we go on with the course. But for now, elevations of the ground is what we are going to be getting from your contour maps. And once we understand the elevations of the ground, anything that you want to design, maybe a road, or maybe a railway, or maybe any other reservoir bodies that you want to construct there, so all that you can try to plan. And this surveying is also be useful for preparing what is called as archaeological maps, which shows the information regarding very ancient features of our that particular location. Let's say, what is archaeology department deals with? Any of the ancient information, like ancient temples, or maybe ancient constructions, or any famous monuments. So all that information in the form of a map, if I'm going to be representing such kind of map, is what is called as your archaeological map. And to prepare what is called as a geological map, showing areas including underground reservoir resources. So what does geological map, what kind of information does this geological map contain means? It contains the information regarding your agriculture, it contains the information regarding your forest, it contains the information regarding your water body, it contains the information even regarding what is there below your ground surface. What are the different resources that are available below the ground surface, like say mining like kind of mining related information, like coal mines or maybe gold mines or various other information regarding the resources that are available underneath the ground. Also, that information is going to be represented in your geological maps. So now, how do we classify this surveying? Okay, so as I told you, like the surveying is going to be useful for us in getting what is called as your contour map, or in getting what is called as your geological map, or maybe your archaeological map, or maybe your topographical map, or various other maps that we have talked about. Ultimately, what we are trying to get from this surveying is you are collecting the salient information regarding that particular location where you are carrying out your survey. Okay, you look at, so sometimes in that Indian map, people try to represent what is called as, okay, in this top region, you have most of Himalayan, in the bottom, you have your sea coast, on your east and west, you have your sea coast extending. So all that information that you are trying to represent there is nothing but it's the salient features of this particular country around us. What are the different water bodies are there inside the region of the country? What are the different water bodies? Where do you have your hilly regions? Where do you have your valley regions? So all that basic information you will try to transfer. So sometimes the map what you are going to be looking at is for a very large area. Sometimes the map what you are looking at is relatively for a smaller area. So depending on the area what you are trying to represent on that particular sheet, so we try to call that particular sheet either to be a plan or either to be what is called as your map. So this surveying is whatever we are talking about is basically classified as two types on a broader way. Okay, the primary classification of surveying is categorized as two. One is plain surveying and the other is what is called as geodetic surveying. The primary way of classifying your surveying. In general, if somebody asks what is meant by how do you classify surveying? So in a primary way, in a basic way, the surveying is classified as what is called as plain surveying and the other geodetic surveying. As the name itself says, plain. See, plain in the sense, whenever you are going to carry out the survey of a particular area or a particular region, if that particular area in which you are carrying out the survey, if the area of that region is less than 250 square kilometers, I repeat, if the area of the region in which you are carrying out the survey is less than 250 kilometers, then the type of surveying what we are going to be carrying out is what we call it as plain surveying. In the case of plain surveying, we are not going to take into consideration of the curvature of earth. Curvature of earth or curvature of your ground surface is not considered in the case of your plain surveying. That is what it is. So whenever you are not taking into the account of the curvature of your earth crust or earth surface, so such kind of surveying is what we call it as your plain surveying. And this surveying what you are carrying out is to be called as plain surveying only when the area in which you have carried out the survey is relevantly less than that of 250 square kilometers area. In that region, if you are carrying out your survey in that relative region of less than 250 square kilometers area, then such kind of surveying is what we call it as plain surveying. So in this plain surveying, what is that we are not taking into consideration is the curvature of the earth surface, because we say earth is spherical in shape. Okay, so that once we say earth is spherical in shape, if I am not taking into curvature, if I am not taking into consideration of the curvature of this particular earth surface, so if I am trying to consider this point and this point, more or less something like this, assuming that both the points are lying on one particular plane, okay, so such kind of surveying is what we call it as plain surveying. And what is the other surveying? It's nothing but we call it as geodetic surveying. Geo means earth. Okay, so if I am taking into consideration of the earth surface curvature of the earth surface, if it is taken into consideration, then we call it as what is called as geodetic surveying. Okay, so the same thing what I have talked about or explained here. The shape of the earth is generally spherical, so thus the surface is obviously curved. The curvature, the surface of the ground or surface of the earth is generally a curved surface. But in the case of your plain surveying, the curvature of the earth is not taken into account. So this is because plane surveying is carried out over a small area. So the surface of the earth is considered as a plane. So as if some points on the surface of the ground are almost lying on a particular plane like this, on a horizontal surface. So I have one point here, another point here, another point there, another point here. So that's how we assume it, and we carry out our surveying. So the degree of accuracy what we get from this particular plane surveying, the degree of accuracy required in this particular type of surveying is completely low, because as you are not taking into consideration of the exact curvature of the ground in estimating the information regarding that particular ground. So the accuracy of the data what you are collecting from this particular plane surveying is relatively less. So when it comes to this plane surveying, so plane surveying is done only when the area what you are looking at is less than 250 square kilometers. So whenever the area in which you are carrying out the survey is less than 250 square kilometers, so in such cases only, we neglect the effect of the curvature of the Earth's surface, and we simply carry out the surveying by neglecting the Earth's surface, assuming all the different points what you are trying to locate on that ground are assumed to be lying on a single plane. Geodetic surveying. So in the case of geodetic surveying, the curvature of the Earth is taken into consideration. So if I am taking into consideration of the curvature of the Earth, so such kind of survey is what we call it as geodetic surveying. So this type of surveying is generally carried out for larger areas. So relatively for the areas greater than 250 square kilometers. So in such cases, if you are for a very relative large area, if I am trying to carry out a survey, okay, so in such cases, the curvature of the Earth is also taken into consideration while carrying out your survey. So the lines, okay, the line joining any 2 points considered as a curved line. So any 2 points on the ground surface, whenever you are trying to join, okay, so those 2 points, let's say for example, this is one point, this is another point. So those 2 points are going to be joined by means of a curved surface, not by means of what is called as a straight line. Okay. So if it is represented by means of joined by means of simply a straight line, then we call it as your what is called as plane surveying. And if the curvature is taken into consideration when you are locating those 2 points, okay, so such kind of surveying is what we call it as your geodetic surveying. Okay, so this indicates I am talking with respect to your geodetic surveying. So this method is very highly accurate, or the accuracy what you are going to have for this particular approach or this method is relatively very high, because you are even taking into consideration of the curvature without neglecting any elevations because of the curvature whatever is there. And earlier, the way how we have classified the surveying is what we called it as primary classification. And here we are going to be looking at the other type of classification, which we call it as secondary classification. So under the secondary classification, the surveying is the surveying that we are going to carry out is classified as different types. Okay, one of such type is based on instrument. So how do I classify the surveying based on the instrument that is used for the purpose of surveying? Okay, so sometimes we use only chains for carrying out the survey. Such kind of survey is what we call it as chain survey. Sometimes we use what is called as a compass. Compass is nothing but it's an instrument for measuring your angles. Okay, so such kind of survey is what we call it as your compass survey. Sometimes we make use of what is called as a plane table for transferring all the salient features of the things that are existing on the ground onto your paper. So such kind of survey is what is called as your plane table survey. And the other type of instrument which we call it as your theodolite. Theodolite is basically used for measuring the horizontal angles as well as the vertical angles. Okay. So such kind of survey what is carried out by making use of the instrument that is called as theodolite, which is called as theodolite survey. And if the survey of that particular region what I have carried out is by making use of what is called as a tachyometry. Okay, so tachyometry is basically an instrument which is useful for measuring the linear distances. Okay, so such kind of instrument if it is used, then we call it as your tachyometric survey. And the other important type of survey are nowadays, when somebody says surveying, it is all about your photographic survey. Okay. Now it's not that people are now using for large areas or for very clear advanced understanding of that particular region. Let's say, for example, if I have a reservoir 100 years before, I had a reservoir 100 years before at that location. But over time, how did the encroachment of that reservoir took place? Or maybe we'll see lakes in different places, but over time those lakes which were supposed to be there will get vanished because of the urbanization which took place in that particular region. So if I want to understand how is that urbanization affected the so-called issues with regard to your land encroachment into your reservoir bodies or maybe your lakes and ponds, so all that studies, or if I want to properly design a road network or maybe a rail network, okay, so all that relative larger studies, area on relative larger regions is now what is being carried out by what is called as your photographic survey. So what do we do in the case of this photographic survey means we try to collect the images of that particular location. So based on the images being taken from aeroplane or maybe from satellite, so whatever it is, we try to take the images of that particular respective region, and based on the images that are being collected, we try to pick out various salient features with regard to that particular site. So whatever information that I can try to collect from that particular image, so all that information we try to decode from that particular image, and we try to understand the relevant information regarding that particular location. So such kind of survey is what is called as your photographic survey, and this is something what is very, very widely, and it's an advanced approach by which we carry out the surveying nowadays. So it's not that people are using chain survey or compass survey or plane table or theodolite or tachyometer. So all these instruments are now becoming outdated. Okay, some of those advanced instruments which have come up by replacing all this chain, compass, plane table and other so on are your total station. Okay, total station is one of such equipment which I can make use of. Only one instrument for determining all those whatever I wanted. Linear distances I can measure. I can try to locate different points in that particular field. Okay, I can try to determine the area of that particular region. I can determine the volume of that region, or I can try to determine the angles, maybe horizontal angle between 2 points or vertical angle between different points. Anything that you wanted, you can simply carry out and determine from this single total station equipment. So likewise, the olden days we had different other different set of instruments like chain or tape or compass or plane table or theodolite or tachyometry. Various other instruments were there. Nowadays, all those instruments are being replaced by some very advanced equipments or advanced instruments for determining the various things from your surveying, like linear measurements or maybe your angles. Okay, so all that can be simply determined from a single instrument like total station. Like some of other advanced equipments which we'll also be talking about are nothing but EDM, electronic distance measurement. So it's not that you place your tape and chain and determine the distances from one point to the other point. Rather, we have a sensor which will be emitting the light, and that light will travel and gets reflected on the refractor which we are going to be using. And depending on the time taken for that light to get refracted or the waves to get refracted, we try to measure that distance. So all advanced things have come up. Okay, so the other methods, earlier I was trying to talk about in how do we classify your surveying based on instrument we have talked about. Now in similar way, how do we classify the surveying based on the different methods by which you carry out your surveying? Methods in the sense the approaches by which you carry out your surveying. One of such approach is what we call it as triangulation survey, and the other is what is called as your traverse survey. So triangulation is in the sense the complete area is going to be divided in the form of some number of triangles, so that so by constructing a network of triangles, you are going to be understanding the condition of that particular location. So such kind of survey is what we call it as here triangulation survey. And the other one is traverse survey. What does the traverse mean? Let's say, for example, I have a pond here, and if I want to understand the area of this particular pond, what we do is we try to travel along the periphery of this region of the pond, and we try to measure the complete distance what I have traveled and the other information whatever you wanted. So such kind of survey is what we call it as traverse survey. So we start from one point, we go to another point, from there we go to another point. That's how we try to build up our network. So such kind of survey is what we call it as traverse survey. So in the case of traverse survey, we'll be coming across once again with two different types of traversing survey. One is open traverse and the other is closed traverse. So if the starting point and the end point of your survey are meeting at the same location, so I started my work from here and I continued, progressed and came back and ended with the same point, then such kind of traverse or network what is formed is nothing but we call it as closed traversing. And in case if the starting point where I started and the ending point where I am completing my survey is nothing but if they are not meeting starting and the end points, if they are not coinciding, then we call such kind of traverse the path what is being followed, traverse path what you are trying to trace out is nothing but we call it as your open traverse. Now, based on the objects what you are trying to identify, earlier also I have told you, depending on the type of objects, the information that you are trying to collect. If you are trying to collect the information regarding the road and railway network, which is really required for military operations, such kind of survey we call it as your military survey. If you are trying to collect the information regarding your monumental structures or ancient structures, such kind of survey is what we call it as archaeological survey. If you are trying to collect the information regarding the different geological aspects like resources available below the ground, so we call it as your geological survey. If I am trying to understand the information regarding the different mines existing in that particular region, such kind of mine survey, and like topographic survey, your other types of surveys, whatever I have talked about. Like similar way, land survey, depending on nature of field what you are trying to survey. Okay, so field whatever you are going to be talking about, if it is an agricultural land or if it is what is called as a land along your coastal region. Okay, so depending on the type of location where you are carrying out your survey, we'll try to call it as a land survey. Land survey is nothing but it could be your agricultural land or maybe your building land or construction land, whatever you are trying to look after. Such kind of survey is nothing but we call it as your land survey. And if it is the surveying of a particular field which is across your coastal region, that is the sea coast, so such kind of survey is what is called as your marine survey. And astronomical survey, regarding the survey being carried out with regard to the astronomical aspects of the information, then we call it as your astronomical survey. So likewise, depending on the way or the approach or the method that you are dealing with, you classify your surveying as various categories. So apart from those whatever are talked about, there are various other types of surveys that we also talk about, like photogrammetry, where satellite images are being used for, it need not be only satellite images, maybe like images that you capture from cameras and various other tools. So all that information, if I am trying to use in understanding the condition of that particular area, so such kind of survey is nothing but you call it as photogrammetric survey. Or if you are trying to carry out a survey only to fix the boundaries for a particular location, okay, so boundaries of this particular country or maybe boundaries of the campus if I am trying to locate, so such kind of survey is nothing but we call it as boundary surveying. Only you are going to be locate the corners or the boundaries of that particular site or the location. And other is control surveying. Control surveying is nothing but you are going to carry out your surveying based on some control points or some fixed points of references. Okay, so with respect to which the so-called surveying is carried out. So such kind of surveying is called as control surveying. And the other different types of surveyings like engineering surveying, whereas this engineering surveying gives you the information or reflects you the information regarding the various engineering aspects like roads, railways, or maybe buildings and other salient features with respect to engineering relevant constructions. So such information will be reflected here. And topographic surveying, all that we have talked about, but route surveys, like say from one point to other point, if I want to carry out my or if I want to build up a connectivity, so such kind of survey is called as your route survey. And hydrographic survey. Hydrographic survey is to understand how is your seashore existing, or coastal belt, how is that region existing, or understanding how is your water bodies existing, like how is the flow of river Godavari happening from one region to the other region, where do you have more catchment area, where do you have less catchment area, how is the width of that particular river flowing channel varying from one region to the other region. All that information if I'm trying to collect, so that is nothing but we call it as your hydrographic survey. So now what does, or who is the person who is responsible to carry out this surveying? What is it called basically? So the person who is carrying out the surveying in the field, okay? So the person, whoever is going to carry out the surveying is nothing but we call him as surveyor. And what is the role of the surveyor? What is he supposed to be doing? Or what is that he is going to be, what kind of information is he going to collect from that particular so-called surveying process? Okay, so that we'll try to understand in detail from this particular slide. Okay, the work of the surveyor basically is distributed in 5 phases. Okay, one is decision making. Decision making in the sense selecting a method and an appropriate equipment, and finally locating those locations. Selecting a method in the sense what suitable method is useful for us for carrying out that particular surveying. For carrying out that surveying, what is that so-called equipment which is useful for us, and by carrying out that particular, by making use of that equipment based on that particular method, how do we locate those respective points what you want to establish on the ground? That decision you are required to be making as a surveyor. Next, how the data collection is to be done in the field. When you are going to the field, wherever you want to carry out the survey, okay, so in that particular field, how the data points are to be collected. So data points in the sense, if I am required to, let's say this is my site, if I want to find out what is the area of this particular site, okay, so if I want to know what is the area of this location, so if I want to know what is the area of this location, so for determining the area of this particular location, so first I have to go to that particular site, and based on the method which I want to make use of, so with respect to that particular method and based on the instrument, because you have different instruments by which you can carry out the surveying. Now, in the initial fundamental course, like say in the first 2-3 units, whatever we are going to be talking about, there we'll try to deal with some of those basic methods, basic approaches by which we carry out the surveying in the field. But mostly in the 4th and 5th unit, we'll be trying to talk about the advanced approaches by which we carry out the surveying in the field. Nowadays, no one is, or rather majority of the people are not using the basic fundamental equipments for carrying out the surveying. So what people are trying to carry out is very advanced equipments, like advanced techniques like GPS, GIS and remote sensing techniques are available. And when it comes to the case of instrumentation, like total station, EDM, those instruments are basically used for determining whatever is required while carrying out your surveying process. Okay. So next, whatever the data that you have collected from the field, now that data, we have to process the data. Like say, I have measured some distances, or from one point to other point. Let's say, for example, from this point to this point, I measured what is the distance. From this point to this point, I measured what is the distance. From this point to this point, I measured what is the distance. So once the data is collected, how the data is to be made use of. Now, how are we going to make use of that particular data in finding out what is your, what will be your requirement? Say my requirement is calculating the area. So if I want to calculate the area, so for determining the area of that particular region, so whatever data that is required for you, if you are determining that area, if you are determining that particular data, so based on that particular data, we'll try to see the techniques or the processes by which you can try to find out, or we carry out what is called as computing. Computing in the sense determining from the calculated or from the determined data or from the measured data, we are going to compute or calculate what is that is your requirement. And once the computational part is done, once you calculate what is your requirement, then we are going to make use of that particular calculated data for what is called as data representation. So once I measure the, let's say for example, for this area, if I am trying to, for this particular domain, if I am trying to determine the area. So once the area is calculated, now how is that area to be represented? From that particular represented figures or from that represented data, I should be able to understand, okay, for this particular region of so and so area, these are the salient features existing. Like say, within this particular area, I have some trees, or I have some mountains, I have some valleys, I have some water body. So whatever information that you have from that particular survey which you have carried out, all that relevant data is to be represented, is to be mapped onto that particular drawing, whatever you are going to be representing. That's what data representation. So whatever data that you have collected for which you did your required calculation, so all the data has to be properly represented on a sheet so that whoever looks at that particular data will be able to understand, okay, at this location, so and so, whatever you are referring to, let's say, for example, in IIIT Basar campus, in this particular campus, at a location, so and so region, near to your girls hostel 1 or girls hostel 2, if I am trying to mark some region, in that particular region, what are different salient features that I have got? Okay, I have got these so and so number of trees at these different locations. I have a water body or waterlogging area at this particular region. So all that information I can try to locate. Let's say this is my area in which I have one tree here, another tree here, another tree here, another tree here. I have some water body, waterlogging area here. Okay, so all that information, and I have a compound wall existing somewhere in this region. So all that information that you have got. So all that information, if you are going to be collecting from the field and representing it properly, that is what we are calling it as mapping that collected data on a proper scale, so that it will be very much useful for you to understand what are the different salient features that particular location has got. And next, stakeout. Stakeout is nothing but locating and establishing different monuments or stakes in the proper locations in the field. So once we understand by carrying out the survey, I have got different trees, different buildings, and so on. So all that information you have to properly locate back onto your drawing sheet or maybe onto a proper map, so that the complete information regarding that particular survey that you have carried out is going to be understood by looking at that particular map or maybe your plan in which you have represented all your data on that sheet.